Hi, I'm Mike Troy, Editor-in-Chief of Retail Leader. I'm here at the FMI Midwinter Executive Conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm joined by Alexander Gillett, CEO and co-founder of HowGood, and we're going to talk a little bit about transparency. But before we get into that, let's start with what is HowGood?
All right. So HowGood is a consumer-facing program where we highlight all the most sustainable products throughout a grocery store. So we look at the environmental and the social impact of every product in the store, and then we highlight all the best products throughout the store. We've rated over 200,000 food products, partnered with over 1,000 food industry experts to build out the ratings, over 350 data partners, and have the largest database now in the world of food sustainability.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you when did you found the company, and how did you compile? That's a lot of information.
Yeah, we founded the company over 10 years ago, predominantly funded by grants in that time, to build out, and 7 years before coming to market to grocery stores, building out the data set, working with industry experts, and doing something that just hadn't been done before.
What did you see 10 years ago that told you there's going to be something to this transparency, sustainability thing?
Yeah, there was a phenomenal Wall Street Journal article where they had done this very, very in-depth survey of consumer insights, and you saw these numbers about how consumers wanted to vote with their dollars, how they wanted to support companies that they believed in, to the point where 70 or 80% of them, depending on what the price difference on a product was, said that they would spend that. But you didn't see that happening at shelf. And so our theory was that this wasn't because the consumers were lying. You're not seeing this kind of, back then, a 10% movement in that direction versus 70% on a survey. That's beyond survey bias, right? Okay. The reality is that there's a piece of the puzzle that was missing for the consumer there. And that piece was a lack of feeling of trust and transparency about which products were what. And a lot of that lack of trust is just because most of the systems in place are too complex, right? So asking a consumer to understand, the difference between, you can even say like, cage-free eggs, free-range eggs, and free-roaming eggs, right? If you ask 95% of your consumers in a grocery store what the difference is, they have no idea, right? And so for consumers, it's hard to say, you should learn, there's over 400 different labels in the US, right? And so some of those are really strong, amazing labels that mean a lot, and other ones mean very little or mean things that consumers don't necessarily know.
You're talking about food labels?
Yeah.
There's 400 types.
There's 400 types of food labels, food and packaging labels, yeah. And so what we've done is it's a rating system. It's good, great, and best. We highlight the best products throughout a store, and then it's one system throughout the entire store. So you see this massive shift. I mean, the average in the 28 states we're in, the average store sees a 38% lift in sales for a best rated product, right? And that's because consumers, all of a sudden, they learn one scale for every single product in the store, and it simplifies.
Great,
and best, right? And then you give them more options they can scan it with the free app, right? And they can see all the details that went into that. So it's simple for the consumer-facing part, but it builds transparency and trust if they have those questions.
If my product is only good,
yeah.
Do I want to even put that on the label? Because I'm essentially...
You get a 6% lift.
Okay.
No, you're not the best, but you're in the top 25% of products.
Because some products, even to earn the label, don't qualify. So
exactly.
If the label's there, even if it's only good, not best, it's still good.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that means that it's a product that is sustainable. It's a product that will support the food system and the people who are part of that food system.
So how does this come to life in a store? What does it look like if I'm walking down the aisle with a cart and I'm making choices about different products?
So right next to the price tag, there'll be a tag that'll say either good, great, or best.
So it's a shelf edge type thing, not an actual on the product.
Exactly, it's a shelf edge type thing. That way, a grocery store, when Giant Landover launched their test, right? They put it in 9 stores, and then they put up collateral surrounding those stores, explaining the program. So when consumers walk in, they get kind of immersed in the fact that, hey, look at how many phenomenal products we're already carrying, right? So they get to start to communicate that, and by communicating that, they not only help show people all the great products they have, but they create a sense of transparency and trust in their brand.
Okay, so hypothetically speaking, I'm a retailer with a private brand.
Yeah.
I want to put it through your screen to see how things shake out with the good, better, what did you say? Good, better,
great, best.
Good, great, best. What's that process look like from a retailer's standpoint? How do I get you all the info you need to make those decisions?
Yeah, so The great thing, because we have so many data partners, is we probably have a large amount of that data already. We've probably already worked with their suppliers. We already have that background data. They have to identify for us who those suppliers are, where they're going through them, and so we map that out, and we'll do the same rating process that we do for every other product that's in the store.
And you see, this is really, it's a trend that's been unfolding since you founded the company 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You see it just growing more importance 5-10 years from now with all the trends with millennial behaviors.
Yeah, I mean, they're predicting higher growth for sustainable products in 2017 than any previous year. And so when you look at those kind of numbers, when you look at the way they've outperformed over the last 10 years compared to conventional products, you really see that this is an area that there's a huge amount of consumer growth and interest. And it's very interesting because it's different in different markets. So we've actually seen, we have a higher lift in sales for best rated products in lower income neighborhoods, which was a surprise, but it turns out it's because there tends to be less understanding of the differentiation between different products in those areas. And so when you put up these kind of ratings, you actually see a bigger lift. We are expecting it to be more in the affluent areas. Now, in the affluent areas, you see a lower percentage shift, but it's across a wider range of products.
Interesting. So let's kind of wrap up here, but where could retailers go to learn a little more about this process, how to get involved with you? I'm sure you have a website, of course.
Yes, you go to HowGood.com,
HowGood.com.
and you can reach out to us there. There's a store contact form, or info@HowGood.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Alexander.
All right, pleasure.
Thanks.